Today on Better Book Clubs, why it's worth reading a book twice. If you're anything like me, you probably feel like there are so many books and so little time. So reading a book twice may seem like not the best use of your time as a reader. But I'm also a teacher, and so I've read lots of books lots of times, and I've learned the value of rereading. So today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about why it's worth rereading a favorite book. Sometimes people have the idea that rereading a book is not going to be fun because of spoilers, because you already know what the plot is. But the fact is that plot and even character and setting and theme are really just the surface of any book you read. And rereading a book allows you to see deeper below that surface. It allows you to appreciate some things that you couldn't possibly appreciate on your first reading. When you go back and reread a book, you have the big picture going in. So you're able to see some of the more subtle things that an author did in setting up the book, in setting the plot in motion, in building the characterization. You're able to see beneath that veneer and really pay attention to how a book is put together. That's one of the most interesting things about rereading. It also gives you a chance to see things that the author may have intentionally put there for you to notice on a second reading. So little hints, foreshadowing, little bits of detail that end up being important later, but that you certainly would not have noticed the first time through. A lot of the books I've reread because I had to teach them, not because they were favorites of mine the first time through, but on second and progressive readings of them, I've come to really appreciate them in a way that I just didn't the first time through. So, for example, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, I didn't really understand what was so great about the book. I mean, I enjoyed it, but after teaching it over and over again, I started to really see and understand the genius of what Fitzgerald was doing in that novel. You've probably also had the experience I've had of saying to a friend, "Oh, this was such a great book, you should really read it," and then not being able to share any details about it. They've all gone out of my head. And so rereading a book also is a way of improving your memory and your detailed recollections about the book, giving you a deeper memory of and understanding of the book that you can then convey to others when you talk about it. For me, one of those books was Middlemarch. I really enjoyed it the first time I read it, but I wasn't able to say much about it at all after the fact when I was talking about it with other people. And it wasn't until I gave it a second read and really thought about it more carefully and paid more attention to what George Eliot was doing in that book that I was able to talk about it. This same phenomenon can be true when you're reading nonfiction books. Again, because you may be reading about something unfamiliar. And so on the first time through, you may be getting the big picture and the basic idea, the basic knowledge, but going back and rereading more carefully, or just rereading and being able to pick up more details, allows you to learn more deeply whatever it is you're trying to learn about when you read a piece of nonfiction. It's true that there are so many books and so little time, so I'm not suggesting that you should reread everything or even most of the books that you read, but I am suggesting that it might not just be the favorite books that you should reread. It might also be that there's a book that everybody else thinks is really great, or a book that you think might deepen your knowledge or understanding in a particular field that might be worth rereading, even if you're not rereading it for the simple pleasure of being in its company again. I would love to hear about the books that you've reread and learned more by doing so, or what you think is so great about rereading them in the comments below. I hope we can have a conversation there about great books to reread. I'll be back soon with another episode of Better Book Clubs.